An older couple were going across the country by car. They stopped at a gas station and he got out to fill the tank. The wife got out to go to the washroom, but the husband didn't see her leave the car. He paid for the gas and then drove off, leaving his wife at the gas station. When his wife came out of the washroom, she discovered that her husband had driven off. She waited for a while as she expected him to come back, but after a half hour, she went to the cashier and explained the situation. The cashier called the highway patrol and they dispatched a car after him. The patrol car caught up with him, sounded the siren, and the man pulled off the road. The officer went to the man's car and told him that he had driven off without his wife and that she was still back at the gas station. "Thank goodness," replied the man. "I thought I had gone deaf." A man is dining alone at a fancy restaurant while a beautiful brunette is sitting at the next table. He's been secretly checking her out ever since he arrived, but doesn't have the courage to start talking to her. Suddenly, she sneezes and her glass eye flies out of its socket toward the man. His reflexes kick in and he reaches out, plucks it out of the air, and hands it back to her. The woman is mortified.
"Oh my, I'm so sorry,"
she says as she pops her eye back into place.
"Let me buy your dinner to make it up to you."
So, he joins her at her table, and they enjoy a wonderful meal together. Afterwards, they go to the theater, followed by drinks at a bar. They talk, they laugh, she shares her deepest dreams, and he shares his. After paying for everything, she asks him if he would like to come to her place for a nightcap. He says yes, and they return to her place. He ends up staying the night, and the next morning, she cooks a gourmet meal with all the trimmings. The guy is amazed at how everything has been so perfect and how incredible this woman is. He can't believe his luck. "You know," he says, "you are the perfect woman. Are you this nice to every guy you meet?"
"No,
she replies.
actually, you just happened to catch my eye."
A very shy guy goes into a bar and sees a beautiful woman sitting there. After an hour of gathering up his courage, he finally goes over to her and asks, would you mind if I chatted with you for a while?" She responds by yelling at the top of her lungs,
"No, I won't sleep with you tonight."
Everyone in the bar is now staring at them. Naturally, the guy is hopelessly and completely embarrassed, so he slinks back to his table. After a few minutes, the woman walks over to him and apologizes. She smiles at him and says,
"I'm sorry if I embarrassed you. You see, I'm a graduate student in psychology and I'm studying how people respond to embarrassing situations."
The man considers her apology for a moment, then responds at the top of his lungs, "What do you mean $200? Billy Bob and Luther are fishing one afternoon. Billy Bob tells Luther,
"You know, I reckon I'm about ready for a vacation. Only this year, I'm gonna do it different."
"What do you mean?" asks Luther. Billy Bob continues,
"Well, the last few years, I've been taking your advice about where to go. 3 years ago, you said to go to Hawaii, and I went to Hawaii and Becky got pregnant. Then, 2 years ago, you told me to go to the Bahamas, and Becky got pregnant again. Last year, you suggested Tahiti, and darned if Becky didn't get pregnant again."
Luther asks, "So what you gonna do this year that's different?" Billy Bob replies,
"Well, this time, I'm taking Becky with me."
A jockey is about to enter a race on a new horse. The horse's trainer meets him before the race and says,
"All you have to remember with this horse is that every time you approach a jump, you have to shout, 'Alley-oop!' really loudly in the horse's ear. As long as you do that, you'll be fine."
The jockey thinks the trainer is mad, but promises to shout the command. The race begins and they approach the first hurdle. At first, the jockey ignores the trainer's ridiculous advice, and the horse crashes straight through the center of the jump. So, as they approach the second hurdle, the jockey, somewhat embarrassed, whispers, "Alley-oop," in the horse's ear. The same thing happens. The horse crashes straight through the center of the jump. At the third hurdle, the jockey thinks, "It's no good, I'll have to do it," and yells, "Alley-oop!" really loudly. Sure enough, the horse sails over the jump with no problems. This continues for the rest of the race, but due to the earlier problems, the horse only finishes third. The trainer is fuming and asks the jockey what went wrong. The jockey replies, "Nothing is wrong with me, it's this bloody horse." "Is he deaf or something?" The trainer replies, "Deaf? He's not deaf. He's blind." A teacher told her young class to ask their parents for a family story with the moral at the end of it, and to return the next day to tell their stories. In the classroom the next day, Joe gave his example first.
My dad is a farmer, and we have chickens. One day, we were taking lots of eggs to the market in a basket on the front seat of the truck when we hit a bump in the road. The basket fell off the seat, and all the eggs broke. The moral of the story is not to put all your eggs in one basket.
Very good,
said the teacher. Next, it was Mary's turn.
We are farmers too. We had 20 eggs waiting to hatch, but when they did, we only got 10 chicks. The moral of this story is not to count your chickens before they're hatched.
very good,
Said the teacher again, very pleased with the response so far. Next, it was little Johnny's turn to tell his story.
My dad told me this story about my Aunt Karen. Aunt Karen was a flight engineer in the war, and her plane got hit. She had to bail out over enemy territory, and all she had was a bottle of whiskey, a machine gun, and a machete.
go on.
Said the teacher, intrigued. So, little Johnny continued.
Aunt Karen drank the whiskey on the way down to prepare herself. Then she landed right in the middle of 100 enemy soldiers. She dropped 70 of them with the machine gun until she ran out of bullets. Then she nailed 20 more with the machete until the blade broke. And then she dispatched the last 10 with her bare hands.
Good heavens!
Stammered the horrified teacher.
What did your father say was the moral of that frightening story?
Little Johnny replied,
Don't mess with Aunt Karen when she's been drinking.
A husband and his wife were celebrating 50 years together. Their 3 kids, all very successful, agreed to a Sunday dinner in their honor. "Happy anniversary, Mom and Dad," gushed son number 1, a surgeon. "Sorry I'm running late. I had an emergency at the hospital with a patient, you know how it is, and I didn't have time to get you a gift." "Not to worry," said the father. "The important thing is that we're all together today." Son number 2, a lawyer, arrived and announced, "You and Mom look great, Dad. I just flew in from Los Angeles between depositions and didn't have time to shop for you." "It's nothing," said the father. "We're glad you were able to come." Just then, the daughter, a marketing executive, arrived.
Hello and happy anniversary. I'm sorry, but my boss is sending me out of town, and I was really busy packing, so I didn't have time to get you anything.
After they finished dessert, the father said, "There's something your mother and I have wanted to tell you for a long time. You see, we were very poor, but despite this, we were able to send each of you to college. Throughout the years, your mother and I knew we loved each other very much, but we just never found the time to get married." The 3 children gasped, and one said, "You mean we're bastards?" "Yup," said the father. "And cheap ones at that." 2 twin boys, age 6, had developed extreme personalities. One was a pessimist, and the other a total optimist. Concerned, their parents took them to a psychiatrist. First, the psychiatrist treated the pessimist. To brighten his outlook, the psychiatrist took him to a room filled with toys. But instead of yelping with delight, the little boy burst into tears. "What's the matter?" the psychiatrist asked. "Don't you want to play with any of the toys?"
Yeah,
the little boy bawled.
but if I did, I'd only break them.
Next, the psychiatrist treated the optimist. Trying to dampen his outlook, the psychiatrist took him to a room piled to the ceiling with horse manure. But instead of wrinkling his nose in disgust, the optimist climbed to the top of the pile and began gleefully digging out scoop after scoop with his bare hands.
"What are you doing?"
the baffled psychiatrist asked. The little boy replied,
With all this manure? There must be a pony in here somewhere.
A big city lawyer was representing the railroad in a lawsuit filed by an old rancher. The rancher's prize bull was missing from the section through which the railroad passed. The rancher was only asking to be paid the fair value of the bull. The case was scheduled to be tried before the justice of the peace at the courthouse located in the town square. The railroad's attorney immediately cornered the rancher and tried to get him to settle out of court. He did his best selling job, and finally the rancher agreed to take half of what he was originally asking. After the rancher had signed the release and accepted the check, the young lawyer couldn't resist gloating a little over his success. He tells the rancher, "You are really a country hick, old man. I sure put one over on you in there. You see, I couldn't have won the case. The engineer was asleep and the fireman was in the caboose when the train went through your ranch that morning. I didn't have one witness to put on the stand. I bluffed you." The old rancher replied,
Well, I'll tell you, young feller, I was a little worried about winning that case myself. 'Cause that darned bull came home this morning.
A blonde lady motorist was about 2 hours from San Diego when she was flagged down by a man whose truck had broken down. The man walked up to the car and asked,
"Are you going to San Diego?"
Sure.
answered the blonde.
Do you need a lift?
"Not for me. I'll be spending the next 3 hours fixing my truck. My problem is I've got 2 chimpanzees in the back that have to be taken to the San Diego Zoo. They're a bit stressed already, so I don't want to keep them on the road all day. Could you possibly take them to the zoo for me? I'll give you $100 for your trouble."
I'd be happy to,
said the blonde. So, the 2 chimpanzees were ushered into the back seat of the blonde's car and carefully strapped into their seats, and off they went. 5 hours later, the truck driver was driving through the heart of San Diego when suddenly he was horrified. There was the blonde walking down the street holding hands with the 2 chimps, much to the amusement of a big crowd. With a screech of his brakes, he pulled off the road and ran over to the blonde.
"What are you doing here?"
He demanded.
"I gave you $100 to take these chimpanzees to the zoo."
Yeah, I know you did,
said the blonde.
but we had money left over, so now we're going to SeaWorld.
A man comes home from an exhausting day at work. He plops down on the couch in front of the television and tells his wife,
"Get me another beer before it starts."
The wife sighs and gets him a beer. 15 minutes later, he says,
"Get me another beer before it starts."
She looks cross, but fetches another beer and slams it down next to him. He finishes that beer, and a few minutes later says,
"Quick, get me another beer. It's gonna start any minute."
The wife is furious. She yells at him,
Is that all you're gonna do tonight? Drink beer and sit in front of that TV? You're nothing but a lazy, drunken, fat slob. And furthermore,
The man sighs and thinks to himself,
It started.